Hi, my name is Natalia Perez Cruz, and I want to talk about the Citizen Book 3. In this case, I choose to read The Handmaid's Tale. I will to divide this video in three parts. In the first part, I will to talk something about the author of the book. In the second part, I will to try to do a brief of the book in general, like principal events in the history, and finally I will to talk about some topics that I recognize in the story of the book. So first of all, the author of the book is Margaret Atwood. She is an American writer born in 1939. In her literary career, she has written stories, novels, and in general literature in favor to women rings. This is very important because it gives us a context about how is the principal topic of the Handmaid's Tale. Here I have the book because I have some notes that it's important for the resume. Well, she has received several awards for her work, and in 1984, when the author was writing the book, her main concern was that although it was not science fiction, it will feel real for the readers, and she made it a rule not to use any real event in history, as well as any imaginary object or not existing law. In my consideration is precisely what gives the novel that sense of actually, because in general you can determine what is the exact point or the exact year in the story it happened. Before I start to talk about the book, I consider important to mention the impact that I had when I saw the date the book was published. Because when I started reading it, I certainly feel it was very current, a situation that could happen yesterday, and that is impressive since at no time doesn't include technology issues that are common in our time, but what really makes it feel completely contemporary is the role that women have in the history. I will to talk more about this topic in the next part. Okay, first of all, the book talk about the dystopia. This is like a term that function in the science fiction like a society that doesn't exist but could be a possibility. In general, this type of topic is very actual, but at least it's because it's recent. I don't know how to explain, but many of the books of this thematic are very recent, have maybe 10 years maximum. But this year was impressed in first time in 1985. So it's incredible because, if we make accounts, it's like 35 years before start this revolution of dystopias. So this is incredible to me. Well, the story talks about a dystopia, like I said, when all the society collapses and a new regime is established. The context of the situation is that the air, textual, the phrase said, the air became saturated with chemicals, lightning, and radiation, and the water became a hotbed of toxic molecules. So, and because of that, declining birth rate. So this is like the context of the story. And in general, since this point, the story talk about the new social regime that have in United States. Like in small details, we can say that now exists like a regimen when the men have all the power. They take the most important decisions, all the business. At the same time, only they have a work. It's like society that have very marked the idea of the men have all the power all the time. Because the declining of the birth rate, the woman now have the responsibility to have children. This is a little bit difficult to understand, at least for me, because, well, I grow up in the society when the woman try to have the power in their body, but in the novelty situation it's not like that. In the novel, now the woman is like an object that need to have babies. So the society in the part of the women is divided by four principal sectors. First of all, we have the couples of the men, of the principal men, that in general this woman, this this woman can have babies. So only are the wives of the commands. Next, we have some people that are in charge of the activities of the house, like cooking or cleaning the house, more like ama de llaves. And in the third place, we have the women that have the possibility to have children, that are fertile. In this case, these women are called like a handmaid, and need to use a specific type of clothes to occult or their body and their face, because they only are the possibility to have a baby, but they don't have the possibility to have a family. So the character that tells the story is one of them, is a handmaid. And in this handmaid has a name, the Fred. And well, the Fred has a family in the past when the society was right, but before all the situation that happened in the world and the new rules, she become a handmaid and now have the responsibility to give a baby to her new family, the principal and her wife. So the story begins with him remember how was her family and her life before, after all these things happen. To do the summary of the story, in general, she tried to believe that this is not true, because, well, the society changed a lot. Now the woman, and inclusive the man, don't have any right about their body. He can have a relationship or a sexual relation that they enjoyed, so they lost all the rights about it. The story is about how they make a combination about the past, about their family that that she lost, and at the same time how he tried to survive in the new society. Because, well, in general, she began to have a relationship with their commander, with their principal. And this is very strange because in this type of situation, she discovered many things about the new regime, how only the women lose their rights, the men really don't. And in general, it's like a travel across their experience as a handmaid, and how all the people believe that have rights in their body, and he can say anything, because if she say anything or do something wrong, she will be murdered. So this is very, very impressive for me, because this is a story about how all the women lose their rights and become only an object for a society. At the final of the book, she fall in love with a man in the service of the family, and she forget all the things. But at the same time, she it's a little bit difficult to explain because their family wants that he have a baby, so he began to have a relationship with this man that is personal of their family, but at the same time she has a relationship with the major, and this is like impossible. So the story have an open end, and when she escaped of the house, but we don't know anything else. I think that it's a very, very interesting book because I have many topics to talk. I don't know why to start because you really think in many things you are reading the book. So I will to talk about some topics that I was thinking while I was reading the book, and at the same time I will to reference some of the phrases of the book to understand better. First of all, I will to mention the time of the pollution because well, this book was written 35 years ago, but in general, this situation continues. I was reading that some studies, some research about the fertility on the world demonstrate that the many mans of the many men that many men have problems with the fertility because of the pollution. So this is a situation that is really happened, and is a possibility, a big possibility, because well, we know that the pollution affect our healthy, not only like be sick or something in specific, but at the same time our fertility does. So this situation about we can have babies is a possibility. The second topic is the return to traditional values. I will to mention some phrases that it's like focus to this topic. Like the rest of the things, the soul has to be rationed. The possibilities has been reduced for those of us who still have possibilities. And this for me is like impressive because I don't know, I always think that have possibilities is like the big opportunity that we have in the life. If we can take a decision, take an opportunity, it's everything, because not everyone had this possibility, and in reality give us a power that we don't imagine. So in the book, she talk about the people doesn't have possibility to choose. They only need to be adapt to the standards of the new government, and they can just say something, anything in reality. The next topic is about the humanity, because we'll have some phrases that it is very good to have small, easy to achieve goals. I wish I was ignorant. Then I wouldn't know how ignorant I will be. The last one is it's amazing how many things people get used to if there is so kind of compensation. I believe that three phrases are very important in the book and in the society in reality. Because, well, we believe that we have an humanity, but how many are we dispuestos to lose of this humanity for something else, for anything else? I don't know if I can say precisely what I think it, but in reality make you think about the consequences of the decisions that we are taking. Because, well, in reality it's true, like humans we can be used for everything. In some decades of the history we can see it. Maybe the situation of the countries in the story, in everything, wasn't the better, but the people used to be because don't have other option. The third topic, it's much about the economy, because, well, the book analyze a situation, an economy situation, when the people don't have money. All the transactions are made by vales, and it's everything. The people with a bigger rank on the society have opportunity to buy more things, but they don't have money. So say, even now that there is no more money, there is a blank market. There is something. There is always something to exchange. Well, this is true. It's totally, totally true. Because, well, this type of practice that are not the more ethicals exist because exist people that work with that. It's like if we want that the people stop to raise, to robar something, well, we need to be part of the change and stop to buy things that are cheaper or that we don't know where happened, you know? Well, other important topic in the book is the war, because, well, the people in the book, the angels, just want to do their jobs. They really don't know if this is right or this is wrong. They only want to do their jobs because don't have that option. They don't want to die. Also talk about the young people that tend to be more dangerous, the most fanatical, and the ones who get the most upset when they have a gun in their hands. I was trying to talk about the topics that we are talking in class because I think this book is the perfect sample of all the topics. But that's true. The book also talks about the youngest people that always have this feeling of want something different, to do a revolution and change everything. But in the book they don't have this opportunity because, well, we know new rules, we know a government that say, well, you don't have right of your body or anything, you need to do exactly what I say, and that's all. The principal topic, at least for me, the main points have to talk is the freedom and security of women. Because, well, I have so many topics to talk about this that I don't know how to explain all of them because all of them are important. But, well, to begin, we have the phrase, we were a decaying society with too many choices. Not all the children I desire, but not by all people. We know that in the book not all the women have the possibility to have children because of the situation of the planet. But this situation only changed the things for the woman, not for the man. And the woman now had the responsibility to have more children. And it's not like you need to have children and it's everything. No, they are obligadas. Talk about the proportion laws and the contraceptivity methods. Talk like something wrong, you know? The book, I don't know how to explain, but the book tried to explain that this type of options like the abortion of the methods, anticonceptive methods, it was something horrible for the society and give all the guilt to the woman for take this type of decisions. In all the moment it's like, oh, the woman in other years don't have to have babies, and for this reason the situation of the world was worse because they take their decision. So all the time is this situation like we live now. I remember when disfortunately a woman was lost and the people say like, well, it's their fault because they decide to go out very late or something like that, when we know that it's not like we decide to do this because we want to put in danger. This situation doesn't exist in the reality because the book tried to explain many this topic, and when you're reading you say like, wow, this is impossible, how a society can say that, but then you remember that we live in this society. Um, Now they are granted to life free according to what things. In one part of the book, a man say that, well, the things are not so bad. You don't have rights before. You don't have rights after. So what happened now? You can have children. You can have a family. You can have everything that you want, and you are not in danger. And it's like, wow. She in some part of the book say, we are containers. The only important thing is the inside or their bodies. They have like the philosophy that with this type of regimen, one day the woman will live together in an harmony as a family, like something like perfect. You don't will to have problems if you follow our rules. In that part that I was mentioning about, the man says like, well, think about the problems they had before. The situation was worse because, well, exist the feminists, sorry, say like, well, after this era, if you want to have a couple, this couple could be horrible with you, maybe murder you or something like that. Like, well, you now don't have any rights, but after you don't have to. You know, it's like horrible. Like a woman reads something like that. Like, well, maybe now I have the control and all the rights about your body, but you are safe because, well, if you access to do everything that I say, anyone need to hurt you to get it. So it's incredible. At least for me, was like, this is the reality. In general, we are 5 years to this. And the same time of the woman, on the empowerment of woman, is the love and the decision to choose. Because for one part, they say that in the case of men, natural calls for majority. So in one part of the book, we notice that the men, in the real situation, we suppose that the men are loyalty to their wife and they don't have adventures like in other years or something like that. But in some part of the book, we notice that the men continue with their practice. They still had woman for their benefits, you know, like this type of woman that don't have other option, because if they decide to have other things, they don't want to have the opportunities. So the men continue with their ideas, only the life of the woman change. This is like, oh my god, it's like, whoa. Now we are in the same situation. Now the only difference is that now you apparent that you don't have the same rights that I. And finally, sorry for the longer with the video, talk about the religion. How the society or the government use the religion to convince us about many things. Because, well, they have a chapter that it's a little bit hard, very hard for me, that talk about how a woman is count about a rape, the horrible situation that she passed, and in this type of adoctrinamiento for the new handmaids, the principal says like, why God allowed such an atrocity to happen? And all the women said, to teach him a lesson. And not only say like something like this, no? It's like a reclamo. Or something like, well, you have the fault. It's what your fault. God wants this for your good because God loves you. And all the philosophy of this new era of the book is about this. It's about love one that the people have reproduction of woman because he first created to Adam and before they create Eva. So you need to be loyalty to the designs of God. you know, it's an incredible book. I really, really love it. Definitely I will to watch the series because I am so interested in the story. But really is a good opportunity to think about our paper of society, or the importance that we have, that we like citizens do anything about the situation that we are living. Because, well, maybe the situation in the future not will be extremely like this, but we are too close, very, very close. Thank you.